How Prestige TV Vilifies Men. This is an expansive story from filmindustry.watch.org, which is a really a website that keeps track of all the nonsense happening in the industry. We're not going to do a huge deep dive into this. This is mainly I want people to be aware of this article. And it gets into how they're just I mean, this ties into our Trek conversation. How TV is vilifying men. Alan, you have notes for the story. Can you tell me what's here?
Yeah.
And there's a few things I want to highlight.
Okay, so opens with the Queen's Gambit illustrates a broader pattern of inaccurate storytelling used to advance anti-male narratives. The show makes a demonstratively false claim about Nona Gaprindashvili erasing her real achievements against male competitors in order to suggest that women were categorically excluded from serious chess. The distortion was not accidental or narratively necessary. It rewrites history to imply that men were primary obstacles to female success, even though the real historical record shows visible competition, cooperation, and mutual recognition between men and women at the highest level of the game. This kind of storytelling reflects the cultural habit in which female achievement is framed as meaningful only when contrasted against male obstruction. When men do not actively block the protagonist, the story supplies the obstruction symbolically by misrepresenting the past. In The Queen's Gambit, this is especially striking because the series itself depicts men mentoring, funding, and supporting Beth Harmon, with her true struggles in being internal rather than imposed on male hostility. By altering facts to sharpen an ideological message, the show normalizes a subtle anti-male narrative that relies on omission and distortion rather than open antagonism. In doing so, it demonstrates how contemporary prestige media increasingly prioritizes ideology over facts and accuracy, reshaping history to fit a grievance-based framework into instead of portraying men and women as collaborators within complex realities.
Can I pause you right there? Yeah. I just want to get to the crux of the story, which is right here in these bullet points. And I love this manufacturing female grievance. But look at this, the polite normalization of anti-male narratives. I remember watching The Queen's Gambit when it came out, came out years ago. I was like, oh, that's kind of a neat story, kind of based on a real story of a woman who played chess in mostly a male world. Okay, we've seen that story. We've seen that story before, but I really, the thing that drew me in was Anya Taylor-Joy. That's the first thing I remember seeing her in. She's great. But here it is, it bullet points it, manufacturing female grievance. The process follows a familiar script. Complexity is removed. Cooperation is reframed as condescension. Competition is recast as hostility. Historical data is ignored. In all these situations, they just ignore real history. And men collectively are positioned as the obstacle. It's this now become a new stereotype where if you see what the story, this is a very detailed piece. You gotta read the whole thing, but I'll just say that it's boring. It's become boring. It's when a movie comes from a certain place and you see certain characters, you already know the outcome of the movie.
Yeah.
You know the limits, you know the fates of the characters because it follows a strict guideline of things that can and can't be done.
Let me interject a second, but when those moments show up in the show, what results is the eye roll and then the here we go again.
Yeah, that's how I feel when I see these things, and I'm tired of it. It's boring. Now, part of this is an overcorrection, overreaction to maybe some older cliches that were not great. But you don't replace bad stereotypes with new bad stereotypes. It takes out all the nuance in storytelling, and it makes these shows and movies dated. They come out, they feel dated. They're not timeless. You know when you see a movie that is a this is a timeless story. This is something that can be seen a decade from now, still hold up. And this makes these feel old and tired, and I'm done with it.
Yeah, let me go back to the D files, because
Yeah.
this is exactly what was happening behind the scenes. The goal was 50-50 men and women in the animation department. So you have all these veteran animators and a group of now young women coming in to become animators, and attempts of the veterans to come alongside them and show them how things are done was always met with hostility, was always
Yeah.
met with condescension, that I don't need these things mansplained to me. And what wound up happening was, A, they were reported to HR, or B, they got fed up and quit, or C, they just sat there and took it and just went on their business because they had families to support. And that's the problem when you come in with this kind of mind frame that, I'm finally in this position because, God damn it, I'm a woman, or I'm a minority, whatever. You quickly realize that you're in over your head and you don't know what you're doing. There are women who can do these jobs, and I noticed the ones who just learned how to do it well, they're the quiet ones, and no one ever talks about them.